back for YouTube's. So we're just still looking for Ruby. How many skill points we have? We got one. Don't know what I'd spend it on, to be honest. Empathy is pretty good. Ooh. Still don't see Ruby potentially, but I think she's in the fishing village. But I'm gonna go ask the programmer if you can get me a way to talk to like a committee of responsibility. It's not a paying job. Could you help me contact Coalition Worship Archer?
You're asking me to circuit bend onto coalition radio frequencies. You want to know, is it possible? Probably. But is it a good idea? I'm not so sure. The main difficulty will be finding an antenna powerful enough to reach those frequencies. Unfortunately, you can't exactly buy mega long wave antennas off the shelf.
She's not joking. Even the RCM has to receive special approval from the coalition to access that kind of equipment.
I highly doubt it. That tower is barely able to transmit shortwave signals across the bay. To generate megalow frequencies, we're going to need a much larger antenna.
She has an idea, though. You can see the tiny signal lights firing inside her.
I don't see any alternative. We're just going to have to build the antenna ourselves. Because it's a completely different class of antenna. It would be like using a high-end racing carriage where a long-distance lorry is required. We need metal, a lot of it. The taller the structure, the better. Something that is both prominent and easily accessible. If it's near a power source, even better.
Close your eyes. Unfold your mental map of Martinez. It's morning. You're standing on the plaza before the whirling in rags. The wind pushes a piece of tear across the cracked tiles. From the north comes the malicious laughter of two children. Your eye follows the tiles west. You see a bench and a few twisted, pitiful trees. Then, just water. From behind you, a low, spectral voice whispers, "Nay." Beyond the unkempt backyard rises a monstrous assemblage of concrete, plaster, and corrugated sheet metal. The voice again, more urgent now. "Nay." Just a moment. That voice isn't human, and it's not saying nay. It's saying nay. You turn around. The morning sun is blinding. You bring your hand to your brow, and a great shadow materializes before you. A towering beast, frozen in mid-air.
Oh, the statue.
The dead king and his horse. It could work.
It may work, you think, but why do you feel like there may be a terrible cost?
We'll need an adequate power supply and a great quantity of cable. If we connect the cables to some of the stranded lorries, we could theoretically increase the antenna's wavelength exponentially.
Whatever ambivalence she had about your project before, she's now fully engaged in solving this technical puzzle.
It's completely ridiculous. But I believe we could transform the entire roundabout into one solid fractal antenna.
A note of awe in her voice. She's shocked and pleased by her own audacity.
About time. That's a very big antenna.
Yes, very likely the largest private antenna in Revachol. I have plenty of cables and amplifiers on hand. The power supply I will secure on my own. All we
Am I supposed to
require
find a
now
radio
is the
transceiver?
radio transceiver itself. I cannot answer that for you, but I don't expect it to be that difficult. There's no shortage of radios around here. If you have real to spare, you might even be able to buy one. But it doesn't really matter where it comes from, so long as it works.
And before you ask, no, you
You
can't
know what,
have the
Kim?
radio
I'll find an
from
even
Makinedo.
better radio on my own. Can't we just use a ROM perfect?
Absolutely not. My reign prefect is my livelihood. If
Do your
something were to
computers
go
have
wrong,
transceivers in
it
them?
would be a disaster. Certainly, though it requires a fair amount of technical finesse to remove
You know
them.
what, Kim? I found an even better
Frankly, it's
radio on
not
my own.
worth the bother. Just find a regular radio.
I highly doubt that. When I crank the volume on my dyno wave, it's like you're in the front row at the National Concert
Alright,
Hall.
Kim, challenge accepted.
There is no need to go out of your way to find a top-shelf radio for this purpose.
I think I
As
saw a
long as
radio
it's
in the office
functional,
near the harbor.
that is what counts. That sounds
Maybe
like a
contract
perfectly
model?
adequate radio.
Alright, I'll go find one of those receivers.
Possibly. It's worth a look at the list. In the meantime, I will gather the rest of the materials. We will meet back here when you have it.
Okay, still have not found Ruby. Supposedly she's around here. You seen a red-haired
Tequila
woman named Ruby around here?
sunset. Can't really remember seeing any women after losing my keys.
It's a touchy topic. He hasn't got laid in ages. He really has no idea
see.
who this Ruby is, sire.
Uncle.
There's no...
Let's reject this shit. Nope. Well, let's save the game. Yeah, we really have not found Ruby. Or what? Anyway. So, yeah, I'm just gonna go get that radio. Oh, what's this?
This is the night watchman's booth. The name on the door reads, René Arnaud. René left his uniform neatly folded on the table.
I suppose René is not going to be needing it anymore. It's a bit too colorful for my taste.
Yeah, it's needed for work and all that.
Fantastic. Try not to wear it with others.
Okay.
This is the night.
So, office by the harbor. What are they talking about? Wait a minute. Didn't we see some speech bubble say that somebody listens to the radio? Oh, hey, radio.
A common office radio.
Damn, how do I get the
like
transceiver
any
out
of
of this
those
thing?
found in countless waiting rooms, lounges, and
There's usually a little switch somewhere. Ah yes, it's the one that says release.
the lock disengages with a nice click. You may now safely remove the transceiver unit. There's nothing obviously remarkable about it. It's about the size of a common pasta box with knobs of molded plastic. What else is there to say? If this transceiver were a person, it would be an accountant at a large logistics firm. Perfectly competent, but
Sorry for stealing your
unexceptional.
transceiver, but there was no other way. I guess pure functionality is itself a kind of aesthetic.
I suppose it does have a certain no-nonsense appeal, if you prefer that
Seeing
sort
we
of...
actually
The
be able to
transceiver
reach the
appears
collision
quite
list.
at peace with its appearance.
You've surprised me more than once during the course of
How
our
does this compare to
investigation.
your dino ray?
But I have to say, it still seems like a remote scenario. It doesn't, frankly. Don't get me wrong. This appears to be
No, I
a
guess that's
fine
all to do
transceiver
then.
for a general audience. But it's not something a serious... I suppose it will.
With its
Yeah,
transceiver
whatever.
gone, the radio
Oh,
has
the need
ceased.
the show came up. I fear we may. Oh, yeah. We could. please don't crash. Please don't crash. Not a radio transmitter. Oh,
Yes,
this is an
what is it?
office in the harbor.
Very good. Let's see what you have. Not the most advanced model, but at least everything appears to be in order. Yes, this should serve our purposes.
No further comment necessary.
I believe that means we're ready to get started. I should warn you, once we begin setting up this antenna, we'll need to see the whole process through. There won't be any second chances, any do-overs. You understand? So if there's anything you'd like to get in order
Wait, didn't
before
you
we
say we need
depart,
some kind of
I
power
suggest
supply?
you do it now. Ah, yes. I wasn't sure what to do about that, but then I discovered an abandoned power source down by the edge of the bay.
It's obvious.
You
She's
mean the motor
referring
carriage
to
are
the off
crashing
something,
today?
Caprice 40.
Oh, yes. I did notice that it was covered in police livery. Then you already know that the carriage itself is irreparable. But the rear-mounted engine seems to be in fine working order. My intention
stuff
is
should
to
I
run a
get in
power
order?
cable from the engine up to the antenna. It won't last forever, but it should give us enough time to establish a connection with Coalition warship Archer. That's up to you. At a minimum, I would make sure you are physically and mentally prepared for an intense and difficult process. Once we begin, there can be no interruptions.
At the very least, you should make sure you're wearing a good pair of gloves.
Radio engineers typically carry overpriced solvent sprays to clean the antenna connections. But in a pinch, some common ammonia works just fine.
Psst. It's the alcohol in the ammonia that's doing the real work. Kinda like with you.
Finally, there's the question of stimulants. Some people prefer to keep legal amphetamines on hand to help with their
What kind of
work.
wardrobe
I'm not
using
one of them,
stimulants is highly
but they do
irresponsible.
exist. I don't take them because
Well, I
they
need
make me
some time to
nauseous.
prepare.
But everyone has their reasons. I don't.
Alright.
That's fine. Return
Let's
to me when you're
see,
ready
huh?
to go.
We're just gonna use a normal one instead of a fancy one. Well, I'm ready now. Let's conduct Archer.
Yes, what is it? Very good. If you'll help me with some of this equipment then.
Back across the water lab. At least we are getting our exercise in today.
If you'll please carry that amplifier, officer. And if you'll take that spool of cable, we should be able to move it all in one trip. And now if you'll just connect that here...
It's done. I believe we are ready.
We're ready to try at least. Please put on these headphones. There should be 2 extra sets. I've configured the channels so that only your microphone is set to broadcast, officer. We'll all be able to listen, but anyone we reach will only hear your voice. You will need to transmit your connection request while I attempt to locate the warship's public frequency. You will likely encounter some interference, but it's important to keep
what if
transmitting
they
your
never
request
acknowledge me?
until you're acknowledged. Ready? Then it will be exactly like every other moment of every other day.
Yes.
I ask again, are you ready? Good. Beginning transmission.
A soft rustling between your ears, a winterscape with fast falling snow.
Collision.
Go ahead, officer.
No. Collision Warship Archer. This is Detective Raphael Ambrosius Costello, the RCM. Please acknowledge.
You're all alone out there, wandering a blasted heath, calling out to the night. But there is no reply, except for the buzzing of invisible machines. The lieutenant looks up at you with a nervous glance. Nervous for who, though?
Collision
You
Warship
cannot
Archer.
say.
This is
Try again,
Detective
officer.
Costello. Please acknowledge.
Nein, Liebling.
Hello, Archer.
Unseren
Do you
Jungen
acknowledge?
nach Redeposten. Einem dieser Dinger.
That's German.
Marianne hat mir erzählt, dass Oscar nicht mehr derselbe ist, seit er auf einem Luftschiff aus Graz zurückgekommen ist. Natürlich halten wir die Psychologen für vollkommen normal. Aber sie hat das Gefühl, seit seiner Rückkehr mit einem Fremden zusammenzuleben.
You can't make out a word
This is
of this
Romeo.
gibberish. The rustling of dry autumn leaves, waves breaking at a distance, 1,000 wings beating at once. It's just like that woman in the electronic doorbell, the circuit ghost. It's strangely comforting to think of these voices traveling through the air until you capture them,
So, you know, I think these are
firefly-like,
ghosts in the
with
radio.
your little metal antenna.
Liebling, bitte. Er ist unser einziges Kind. Er kann auch nächstes Jahr zur Akademie gehen.
Not ghosts, officer. Crosstalk.
Collision
have to
Warship
keep
Archer.
trying
This is
until we get a
Detective
signal
Costello.
through.
You're there, Archer. Please acknowledge. Collision Warship Archer. This is Detective Costello. Do you
Again?
acknowledge?
It's gone now.
A slight frisson at the point where your neck meets your spine. Something about the lieutenant's words directed at you. But
Kim, don't
not
clog
you.
my connection.
I didn't say anything, Detective.
Someone has been maintaining it. The wiring has been repaired.
An uncomfortable silence falls over the connection.
It's
You
been a
can't-
long
You're
winter.
trying to tell me you didn't say anything.
Cold.
I promise you I
What
didn't,
is happening?
even though it certainly sounds like me.
I can't say with certainty, but it sounds very much like anthroponetic crosstalk. It happens sometimes when sending transmissions across long stretches of pale.
Ah, yes, of course. That must be it.
Pale, 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 pale. Seems to be missing from your records.
So maybe we should
Natürlich
try it
halten
again
wir die
later.
Psychologen für vollkommen normal.
There won't be any later. This is our chance.
Collision
Now
Warship
please
Archer. Do
keep
you
going.
acknowledge this is Detective Costello?
But someone has been maintaining it. The wiring has been repaired.
Archer, this is Detective Costello. Can you hear me?
Please acknowledge.
Liebling, bitte. Er ist unser einziges Kind.
Where's the partner? Please identify.
The signals are getting increasingly mixed. Plucking Archer's signal from this will be like isolating a single strand from a tangle of hair.
What can
It's
you
not working. The crosstalk is simply too strong. I did not expect simply locating the signal to be so difficult. We must consider several variables. Local anthroponetic conditions, the sophistication of our transceiver, the quality of our connections, and the physics of our antenna itself. Our transceiver is perfectly capable, so there is no problem there. And we're also unlikely to change our local anthroponetic conditions. So, the
How
next
am I
step
supposed
is
to
to
inspect
thoroughly
connections?
inspect our connections. You need to climb up there and look at them for yourself.
But you don't have the technical expertise.
Someone has been maintaining it.
Come on, son. This isn't anything but a common high bar. Just get a solid overhand grip and hoist yourself. Images of your body smashed
know what I'm
against the
doing.
pavement flood your mind. This is dangerous.
That's true, but I can't leave
Okay,
my
let's do this.
station, so it will have to be you.
Your gloves give you a solid grip on the metal bar. This feels pleasingly familiar. Keep it together, champ. You've got this. And before you know it,
Do you see that bar
you're
work?
safely perched atop the monument.
Yes, you're a natural gymnast, detective. Now, would you like to do what you got up there to do?
The connection itself is nothing more than a little braid of exposed wire wrapped about the hoof of the horse. A copper fetter, it cannot slip. The whole monument is covered in a thin but durable layer of oil and grime. It's obvious no one has cleaned it in years. The programmer mentioned ammonia, but anything alcoholic should dissolve the oils, creating
okay,
a
pour some
cleaner
alcohol
and
over the
clearer connection. It takes a few moments, but the alcohol gradually begins to break down the oils surrounding the copper wiring.
Is this really the time, detective?
It's all right, Lieutenant. He's simply cleaning the connections.
Once the oils have been dissolved, you wipe off the
Wow.
connections with your sleeve and reattach the cable.
It seems to have made some difference, but unfortunately not enough to alter the overall situation. Unser einziges Kind. Er kann auch nächstes Jahr zur Akademie gehen. You're sort of changing the shape of the antenna. I'm not sure what else we can do from here. And the lorries are all
Only
jammed
changing the
together,
shape
so
of the
that's unlikely
antennas,
to
dude.
happen. Ideally, narrow the receiving mode so that we can isolate the worst signal and eliminate the
How
positive.
do we change the shape of
And
these?
if you don't know what you're doing, of course you could just make it worse. What do you mean? You adjust the antenna manually, with your hand. I'm afraid we're out of alternatives. You're just going to have to go for it.
She's
Oh.
right. The responsibility is yours, and yours alone. There's no turning back now. You are face to face with Philip III. The Bronze King looks toward the west. Something about his features seems bizarrely distorted. His imperious gaze leads you naturally to his outstretched hand, which, for some reason, strikes you as sadly empty. He seems ill-equipped for wherever he's going. A king should not go about unarmed. Come on. Kings and sabers are so played out. There's a
Attach a
better
saber.
way. To your surprise, the saber's hilt fits quite snugly in the statue's hand. The king cuts quite the triumphal figure now.
There is no way that is going to make any difference.
It's making a very slight difference. The signal
Look at
is a bit clearer than it was.
This faithful steed is in nearly as poor a condition as its rider. A clear sky, the kind of day where anything might happen. Across the river, you can see Coalition warship Archer tracing its gradual circuit above Revachol East. A few of the idle lorry drivers and strikebreakers gesture at you with their cigarettes, more out of curiosity than anything else. From the window of one of the adjacent apartment buildings, an older woman leans out, her heavy breasts sagging. She yells a single word you can't
I'm
make
gonna
out,
have to try
and
it.
then shuts the window with a
Oh,
violent
it's very
thump.
old. Oh. That's irrecoverable.
You allow the broken hunk of metal to clatter to the ground. It wasn't clear to you it did anything anyway.
Nein, Liebling! What are you doing? The connection is even worse now.
I'm sorry, I was trying to do
Extremely
good.
unprofessional.
She's right. This was your responsibility.
Damn it! I'm going to push the power supply. I doubt it will last more than a few minutes, so you'd better make them count.
A maelstrom of sound, swirling and swirling around an invisible point. It's mounting, mounting.
Nicht mehr derselbe ist, seit auf einem Luftschiff aus Graz zurückgekommen ist.
Detective Cousteau, please.
It's too much. Your eardrums are throbbing.
A long winter, long and cold.
And then,
collecting
nothing.
Orchard.
Try
This is
now.
Detective Cassandra, RCMP, so knowledge.
This is Worship Archer. We are acknowledging and accepting you. Though we're still getting quite a bit of interference.
This is the best we can do. I suggest you get to your business quickly. I doubt I'll be able to maintain even this connection very long.
There is so much you wish you could ask, but you probably only have time for one or two questions before.
Please be advised that you are speaking on a public
Listen, I
frequency.
need to
What is the
reach
request?
the committee of responsibility.
Acknowledge. To reach the committee, all you need to do is fill out the appropriate request form and submit it to the liaison for public affairs. If the liaison accepts your request, you will be invited to address the committee at their next quarterly public hearing. We believe the next hearing is scheduled for July.
She's got to be jerking your chain, right?
Oh,
You
we got a
can't wait
superstar ego
that
and we won't let
long.
the fast go. Yep. What if we need... Oh, actually, I was hoping you could patch me through the committee directly. What do you mean?
We're afraid that is quite impossible, Detective Cousteau. We cannot transfer you to the committee
Listen, I'm
because
begging you, please
we are
just
not
let me through.
entrusted with that responsibility. We
Archer,
are
yeah?
simply the second signal. We are here, Detective. Though we have to say, this is all quite out of sequence.
This line of argument is quite
I
pointless.
need to reach
You
the
should
committee this
abandon
week.
it.
Not a problem. If this is a time-sensitive matter, you may file an emergency address request with the liaison for public affairs. They typically respond within a few weeks.
You're not listening. I gotta immerse
What
Richard
part
Person
of
on it to discuss
need to reach the committee doesn't she understand? Time to lay it all.
We will hear your request, Detective Cousteau. Although we must inform you that the committee does not typically intervene in personal matters.
That's only because they haven't
thing
heard
is, I
about
can't
your
remember
problems
anything.
yet.
So, you're experiencing acute memory loss. We don't see how this is the committee's business.
I'm pretty sure it has to do with the prodigious quantities of drugs and alcohol I consumed. I'm pretty sure it has to do with something I lost.
We're afraid we don't understand at all. What does this something have to do
I had
with
a
your lost
traumatic
memory?
I don't, and I don't know what I'd do about it.
We are sorry to hear of your loss, but personal tragedy is quite beyond the purview of the committee responsibility. Now, please excuse us while we update the receiving frequency.
No.
This connection will
Please
be
don't.
cleared in 4, 3, 2, 1. Après le monde, le gris.
And the line goes quiet. The lieutenant gives a long sigh as he removes his headphones. He looks up at you.
I think it's best for you to climb
Just
off
give me
the
a minute.
statue now, Detective. Your real work is done here.
The sun-warmed bronze tingles beneath your fingertips and between your thighs. Your legs have grown stiff. You've been up here quite a while. You look around. The strikebreakers are still shouting their slogans and waving their hand-painted signs. Beneath you, the lieutenant and the programmer have begun disconnecting a few cables. There's really no point. You're beginning to feel like the little child who refuses to come down off the carousel.
Good. Now give me a hand with these amplifiers. Leave the cables. I don't feel like making 2 trips.
What's one more trip
Too
across
bad.
the
I think we
waterlock?
failed, but whatever. We got a superstar ego. Worked against us.
Well, this
You're
was
good
an
team, Sonia.
interesting collaboration. Really? I do not think we were that's successful. But maybe the RCM has a different definition of success. In any event, just leave that equipment here. I'll put it away later. If you'd like, you can take one of the extra headsets. I don't need something spare. Now, you'll excuse me. I have to get back to my homework. Yes, what is it?
We need to ask about that. It's a buoy west on the boardwalk on the coast. Somewhere in the reeds. So this is the boardwalk. And the reeds.
Listen, Ted.
Yeah, I should probably stop it here for a little bit, and I'll see you guys in the YouTubes in the next one. I gotta do a little something.